Dumela, Sawabona, Sapase, Namaste, Obshin, Dubra Ota, Assalamu alaikum. Buenas noches, bonsoir, good evening, everyone. Good evening, LottCarey family. Welcome to another episode of The Digital Couch. Welcome to everyone who is here, who is joining us on multiple platforms, whether it be Facebook or YouTube. It doesn't matter. Do the same. Please give us a like or a love, drop some comments, and subscribe. And most definitely share it with other people. I am so thrilled to be able to have on our digital couch this evening for the Women in Service Everywhere, where we do on the first Thursday of every month, we showcase, we spotlight, we highlight one of the people who are dear to our hearts, whether they be here in this specific community that we are in, or it is our mission partner. And tonight is no different. Tonight we are being blessed with our own president, Gregory Jackson. Let me follow the protocol that I know to call on this stage, and let me give greetings from, on behalf of, and I think one of our administrators is actually going to be peeking in with us this evening, and that is from the Executive Secretary, Reverend Emmett Dunn. President Jackson, who's actually sitting here with us. Vice President Jesse Williams, First Vice President Gina Stewart, and for the Women in Service Everywhere, Reverend Angelita Clifton as Vice President. Thank you so much once again for joining us this evening. I do hope that this evening is like none other. We have good conversations. You know what we do here on the digital couch. We have our cups so that we can sip some tea or some water, because sometimes these conversations, you need to refresh yourself, because things can get really interesting. We also want you to have something to write on or write with, or if you are so inclined, to use the comment section to ask a question or to repeat something that is said that is a gem, something that resonates with your heart or your spirit that you really want to remember for yourself, or you want us to remember so that we can actually repurpose that information to share it with someone else. Last but not least, in the comments, if you hear something that we say that you want to share with someone else, just click that share button and share it along. Reverend Jackson, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm thrilled.
So glad to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for accepting the call. So I don't know if anyone can see Reverend Jackson and I are matching. Now, let me just tell you, there's a little behind the scenes conversation. I said, Reverend Jackson, when you come on the digital couch, he wanted to wear a suit. I said, no suits. I said, just wear something black. I said, because it's Thursday. So he was like, Thursday's in black. So we said, oh, I'll wear a suit. No suit. Okay, just wear a shirt. All right, so we're twinning here. We're twinning. I like to break the ice because, when we talk about missions, when we talk about ministry, sometimes it's, it's serious. And of course, missions and ministry is serious. But here on the digital couch, we like to kind of take a little kickback because it's all peaceful. It is peaceful.
You. All right. Thank you for allowing me to dress down today and just be me.
Be you. If I break out into song, it's because I'm very comfortable with this.
Well, you don't want me to break out into songs, because you would not be comfortable with that, nor would anybody else listening.
That's okay. So, so thank you. We're going to hop right into some questions. So we all know that Reverend Jackson has been serving with the LottCarey Baptist Farm Mission Convention for years. That only seems it's only a couple of years, but realistically, feels like he's been here for some decades.
Of course, I have been here for decades.
So actually, do you want to sort of tell us your sort of LottCarey journey?
I pastored at Mount Olive Church for 35 years, but I ended up staying for 37. So I started coming to LottCarey reluctantly, as a matter of fact. I was a new pastor, and Mrs. Somerville came to Mount Olive, and she used to come every year. And that first year, she said, I was 33 years old then. She said, y'all let that boy come and I will pay for him. And she did. She paid for my trip, and it was in Louisville, Kentucky. And I really had no great love for foreign missions or global missions. But I went that year, and I never missed another one except for the time when I had surgery. And fell in love, expanded my horizon, my vision, my thinking. I guess I could say I was almost converted when I first came to Mount Olive, but meeting her and being exposed to wonderful people just changed my life.
Who can say no to a Somerville?
Well,
not
I
if you
did.
want to get to heaven. I'm sorry. Not if you want to get to heaven. You don't say no to a Somerville. Thank you so much.
She not only asked me, but she invested in me. I think that made the difference because our church was not that. There was a few people in our church that were mission minded, but overall, the church really was not mission minded at all. It was a struggle to get Mount Olive to give $500 back in that day.
Wow. And prayerfully, I'm sure that Mount Olive has, as a number of our churches, has increased that giving. But when the leader is mission minded,
it makes a difference.
It does.
It makes a great difference. Yes,
it really does.
Absolutely.
So actually, I'm going to stay on this just for a second. Had the church done any? The stretch would be global missions, but local missions at the time when you came in, like what was their outreach?
Yes. The church was very active in local missions at the time, and still is. Even at that time, probably 30 or 40,000. That was in the 80s in local missions, and right now. So the argument was between local mission, home missions, and global missions. The same argument that you hear today from various churches. Well, we got so much to do here. We really don't have enough to do there. And so it was a kind of a transformative moment. Probably not a moment, but a transformative journey. To not fight, the way I dealt with it, not fight the church over home missions, just finding a new niche to ask people to give for global missions, because I maintain God's got money in people's pockets that's segmented for certain kind of things. There are some people you can get up and you can ask forever to give something to the building fund or give something to this fund. They're not going to do it, but when you hit the right niche in a person's thinking and psyche and theology, they will give to it. And so I just went after those persons who I knew in that congregation. So I didn't take anything away from anything they were doing. I just added to and that's how we grew it.
I'm gonna stick with this just for a moment because this is a conversation that I've had over the past couple of weeks with some other ministers. Shout out to all of the ministers that I know who sat on my digital couch from the city of Brooklyn. You know who I'm talking about. And the question has to do with expanding a person's connection and knowledge and ownership to the motherland.
Mm-hmm.
So when you came into your role as a pastor, and in our prior conversation, I found out that you're from South Carolina.
Yes.
In your family's storytelling, and because if your family tells you a story, and we'll use the term narrative, you then grow up with that narrative, and then you use that narrative as a foundation with which to preach from, with which to speak to, and the lenses that you look through. Okay. So when you got to your church, what do you remember the vision of us prior to arriving at this on this landmass? What do you think what do you remember the consciousness of the church members, or maybe even where you were at that time? Because it's easy to think about doing,
Right.
local missions here, but then like we're going across the water. Why?
Yeah. I think that there was about 5 women who were a part of that was our mission organization at Mount Olive Church. I don't know if they had a knowledge of the African connection. I think they had some knowledge, but it was like, God says go over there and help those poor Africans kind of thing. And for me, I'd like to think that I was further along than that, given the fact that I'd graduated from Colgate, Rochester. But I saw myself basically as a social justice pastor in the United States of America. My coming of age, I knew about Nkrumah, I knew about what's happening in Ghana and a few other things, but it really had not connected me to the motherland in the way that it should have. That happened after years of going to LottCarey, and then finally going on my first mission trip to South Africa with several pastors like Cliff Jones and Jerry Sanders and John Fuller. All of these pastors much further along in ministry than I was. And that really opened my eyes. And then going on several other mission trips. And then, starting to read more and more about what was going on the continent, developing that connection. I have this piece of art I used to at the church that reminds me so much of where I was at the time and where so many people still are. How can a giraffe say that he hates Africa? That's where you came from. How in the world can we, people of the diaspora, say that we hate Africa? Because that's where our roots are. That's where we came from. And we have to somehow begin to reconnect with our roots and our identity through study and through travel. And I recommend any pastor get on that plane, go somewhere, not just on a vacation, on a mission trip, with that purpose in mind, to open your eyes and to see a new depth of poverty and new depths of understanding of how we can just make a difference somewhere. I mean, we're not going to be able to eradicate all the various issues that we fight with around the world, but we can do our part.
I want you to help me with this quote. I don't want to misquote it, but some famous leader said, how can you how can you put a cat or a kitten into an oven and call it a loaf of bread? Are you familiar with that term?
No, I'm not.
It's aligned with, you cannot take the African out of Africa, place them on, let's say, the continent of the United States, and just call them an American.
Yeah.
Because that's where you extract, like you pick them up at.
Right.
There has to be an origin. Right. And so I just wanted to sort of like continue with that conversation for a moment, because it appears that if there is a disconnect with where we have come on prior to this landmass, and sometimes having a mind for missions, and if this is touchy for anybody, it's okay. There could be the continuation of the colonialized thought that we're going to go back and help, quote unquote, I'm saying this lightly, those poor people.
Yeah. Well, I think we are a product of our time.
Yes.
The time that we live. And I grew up in the 50s and the 60s. We were still Negroes back then. So we had to I've been Negro, I've been colored, I've been Afro-American, I've been African-American.
With the
So
hyphen and then without the hyphen.
right. So it's a part of growing in our own understanding through a Malcolm X and through a Louis Farrakhan and through Black history programs and Black history studies. Young people today should be further along certainly than I was, being born in 1951, and understanding that connection. And if they're not, then we as parents have failed miserably to sort of reunite and reconnect and have a love for where we come from, and hopefully have a desire to visit it. Not so much that we got to go over and straighten everybody out, because that's certainly not the case at all. We go over and we share, and we learn and we grow, and our minds are broadened, and our thinking is broadened as well.
I thank you so much. Thanks for just delving into that part of the conversation with me, because it's very, very crucial. It's very crucial that let me say it this way, the missionary mind of yesteryear, and let's say 80, 90 years ago, outside of the LottCarey mind for missions, is looked at a little differently. So it's, yes, as you just said, let's go in, let's quote unquote clean these people up, let's show them a God, and whatever they were wearing, whatever they were singing, however they spoke, unless it is couched within, let's say, our version of the 66 books, it's not going to be acceptable. And what I truly, truly have come to love more and more is the LottCarey version of being mission minded, and our founder, Lott Carey, who says, hey, okay, I know I came to the States, but guess what? I have a whole lot of family and cousins and groups of people who are there who would be additionally blessed by this additional, aspect of how we already see God and our monotheistic ideology. And so, coming alongside and saying, okay, I see how you worship like this. Can you teach me that song? And I'd like to teach you a song.
Right.
And however God moves in that midst.
Transformation happens hopefully both ways. When we go on mission trips, or when I go on a mission trip, I'm always blessed, and I always receive. I'm always a better Christian once I'm on that plane coming back. I've learned something. I've been so blessed by worship and just by being in the presence. This whole idea that somehow that Americans are smarter or whatever, it's ridiculous. Some of the brightest, smartest people I've met in my life are Africans or people of the diaspora in the Caribbean or in India or wherever they may be. And some people in the various countries are doing economically better than we are doing. But we go to walk alongside people and to love them and to encourage them and to pray for them and do the very best that we can. And hopefully that the gospel will intersect the lives of those people. As Jesus went along in the Bible, everywhere, he met this person over here and he healed him. He met this other person over here. It's almost as if he didn't know who he's going to meet along the journey, but he ministered to the people as he came in contact with them. And I think that's what we attempt to do at LottCarey around the world. And it's a wonderful thing to actually go. It's one thing, this technology is great, and we're able to do a lot with technology now in terms of talking to people in the various countries around the world and preaching via the internet and whatever, but there is no substitute for being on the ground.
I amen to that. Amen to that. To those people who are watching us now, it would be great if we could, and that includes Reverend Jackson, could see, if not your name, but if you type in the city and state that you are from, if you type it into the comments, I'll actually be able to read it off so that you can we can shout out your affiliation with us, whether you be a LottCarey partner or if you're someone that Reverend Jackson or myself knows personally. We would love for you to just sort of hear what we're doing. Let me just reiterate that this is the LottCarey WISE Digital Couch. This is episode 5 with our own president of our organization, which is President Greg Jackson. And we are, if you look at the past few episodes, we have had chats on the first Thursday of every month for the past 5 months with either one of the sojourners of the LottCarey family. And we have just begun in the last 2 episodes to speak with Reverend Harewood, who is from Guyana. And she's this, let me get this right, she's the superintendent of the Baptist ministers in the country of Guyana, an amazing, amazing woman. And then lastly, we spoke with Reverend Namdo of South Africa, who runs, oh, don't forget, Hope. No, Teen Challenge. Sorry, Global Teen Challenge. There we go. Global Teen Challenge. And bless his heart, there's a 6-hour difference. And I said, do you want to pre-record this and do it earlier in the day? And he says, no, that'll be okay, which means that we went live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it was 1 a.m. South Africa time. And he was just as amazing and on fire as it was the middle of the day. So there is no other reason that anybody can say, oh, it's too late, it was too early. He did it. So we're just we're coming around the corner, and we're very, again, blessed to have our president, Greg Jackson, on our digital couch. So we've touched a little bit on some mission projects. And just, of course, there is no substitute for hands and feet on the ground. I'm very, very excited that we have moved out of just the thinking that we will send as missionaries, but now we're doing more going, right? There absolutely is no substitute. There are other denominations, there are other religions that make it a life's work, right? To have if you want to call it a pilgrimage, or to have that one time where they finally connect with their land of origin, whether it just be the continent, whether it be going to Jerusalem, whether it be going to Ethiopia, but make that connection so that you can demystify the narrative that has been told and taught to you from selected history books, if you understand what I mean. And so once, I'm sure the first time, as you have just started to share, the first time that you landed, on the continent, and you sort of saw for yourself how people live, and from the sublime, from one extreme to the other, let's say like that. But that, yes, there is a level of supreme knowledge base, supreme efficacy, an understanding of the global economy, an understanding of the state and national economy, an understanding of agriculture that, clearly is, eons beyond what we have done in the United States. And of course, we've had to borrow a lot of technology and issues of farming from the continent of Africa. So it's just, thank you very much for sharing that. And so we are just giving everyone a charge, before you close your eyes, make a trip.
If I may, I don't want to forget this, mention this.
Sure.
That Reverend Dunn and myself, we're leading a group to Liberia and Ghana next February. And there should be information coming out. We'll be going over to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the man LottCarey being in Liberia and Sierra Leone, that part of the world. And then we're going to take a little side trip to Ghana. And so those who've never been on a trip, this would be a great trip. Or if you've been on one, if you want to go, we certainly would like to invite you to come and go. I know some information has been sent out already, but I don't think information has been sent out related to the price and that kind of stuff yet. But keep your eyes open. Come on, let's go to
To Liberia.
Liberia, and Ghana. Yeah.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. So we have 3 people. We have 3 states that are shouting out. We have Fountain Baptist Church. Excellent. Thank you so much. Where the Reverend Dr. Jerry Michael Sanders is the pastor. We have Elva Missionary Baptist Church in Gretna, Virginia, where the Reverend Doublet Garner is the pastor. Thank you so much. And of course, I can never live stream. And the most amazing person who always shows up, my mama. So my mom, Haley from Brooklyn, New York. Thank you so much, Mom. So we have Brooklyn in the house as well.
Brooklyn is in the house.
And you need to say it like that. I just have to say it. We also have Reverend Joanne Pearson Collins from Mount Zion Baptist Church in South Hackensack.
South Hackensack.
Come
the
on.
Church with the big heart. Yes.
Thank you so much. So those people who are shouting out, please share this information. And also, please, if someone can take the LottCarey, because I'm not able to type it while I'm streaming, can you actually take the LottCarey.org URL and just drop it in the chat so that it can be live? I'll do the best I can once I finish streaming, but it's great to have this in the context of when we're speaking about it. That would be great. So we're actually going to sort of just slip into 2 more questions because we're zoomed out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Past 15 months, we were zoomed out, so we don't want to take up too much of people's time. I would like to have you share some highlights on the relationship that the greater parent body LottCarey has in your tenure to WISE, which formerly was the Women's Auxiliary, and it's now WISE.
Well, first of all, I think we're blessed with the Women's Auxiliary and WISE and the excellent leadership that WISE has and their commitment to global missions and to whatever projects that they decide that they want to organize in a particular year. We've really been blessed with wonderful leadership over the years. And certainly this time is no different. We have suffered some loss during death over this recent year, but the Lord saw, Reverend Dr. Clifton stepped in. She's doing a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful job. Women in ministry, women in LottCarey, like women in ministry, women in the church, rather, over the years. Where would we be without women in the church? Where would we be as LottCarey without women's support, leadership, etc., etc.? And women have stepped up to support and to lead this organization long before we had the number of females in ordained ministry. People will do it ministry. And so it's a little different now. We're about to go into this new season where the Reverend Dr. Gina Stewart will be our next president. We're excited about that. We're excited about her. She is certainly a gifted, wonderful preacher and prophet. And so it's a new season, and I'm sure she will bring a lot to the LottCarey ministry and the LottCarey legacy.
Excellent. We thank you. We thank you to hear those words coming from you, to champion the new light that will be shining, on our garden, right? The new light that'll be shining on our garden. We're very appreciative of her diligence, of her determination, of the movement, of the leadership, that it will work.
Oh, it's God ordained. It's got to work.
That it will work. That it will work. We're appreciative of that. So let me ask the question about your transformative work, let's say abroad and locally. what do you remember, or what can you say would be probably your greatest work that you have done as far as you can think, and then as close as you can think? And that could be prior to your work in LottCarey, but of course it's LottCarey Mission Minded. So just to sort of like give a shout out to something.
I really don't have any particular thing that I think globally that's transformative. Just meeting the needs of people, and in terms of our focuses, in terms of education, in terms of ministry, in terms of healthcare, and being flexible and adaptive to whatever is happening on the ground right now. A few years ago it was HIV and AIDS, and in various other places it's been water initiatives here in Michigan, or it's been food initiatives in Zimbabwe, or dealing with some drought, whatever it may be, or some in the States here it's natural disasters, down in Louisiana. And now it seems like there's a natural disaster every time you turn around, whether it's in Haiti or whatever. So, we try to be flexible, and everything is transformative if you can make a difference in somebody's life. If you can step up and be there and hold their hands and cry with them and pray with them and bring whatever resources you have to bear. We never have enough resources, but we come in the name of Jesus Christ. So we pray, we hold their hands, and we just minister together with people, depending upon what's happening in their lives.
What's happening now? When it happens, LottCarey is there to be the additional set of feet and hands on the ground, and
We try.
that's what we're really excited about. So I just want to say, we have Mount Sinai Baptist in Baltimore, Pastor Ray A. Cotton.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for joining us.
We have Kay Bethia from TNAC.
Great.
Okay, so I have the information about the trip, including costs, is on the LottCarey website, and there is an opportunity to express interest as people register for the convention in August. Hint, hint.
Right. Don't forget to register for that convention. We're doing it again virtually this year. We're excited about that Thursday night when Dr. Gina Stewart will be elected as a president. And those who are in Atlanta, you have friends down there. We're going to be at Green Forest Baptist Church. Go to the website to get all the particular information. We will be allowing people to come in on that Thursday night. We'll do the social distancing and all that kind of stuff, because we want to. This is historic, and we don't want to have a new election of our first female president in isolation. Unfortunately, we're not able to do it in the major convention like we normally would have done it. But these are the times that we're living in. So we're going to try to, sort of make something happen so we can have as much of the LottCarey family there on that Thursday night as possible.
Excellent.
So I will decrease and she will increase.
And so that actually brings me to my last sort of question, or last focused engagement moment, and that is, since we're turning a corner, what sage wisdom would you bequeath to her? Because we are going to show this to her.
I don't know if I have any sage wisdom, in your words, to bequeath to anybody. Maybe a little advice, and that is, do what you've been doing. Be yourself. Love people, and just go for it, girl. God's got you.
You heard him say it.
Yeah.
I am really thankful. So if there are any questions, you have about 10 seconds, folks, if you're paying attention and watching, to ask a question. So this is what happens. If you are a regular Facebook user, we don't see your name. And so that's why we wanted you to sort of drop where you're from, but that's okay. What we will do is as we're sort of coming to a close, this broadcast is being delivered on the LottCarey WISE Salt Facebook page, which is a private page. And so if you want people to hear these amazing gems, they need to pop on over to the LottCarey WISE Salt Facebook page. It is also being broadcasted on my YouTube channel. And so those people who know me, you can also see it on YouTube, which is public. On the first Thursday of every month, moving forward, we will be having another digital couch conversation. You can sip now, that's fine. With one of our LottCarey, either going to be a partner or it's going to be one of the people within our leadership. So because we may be shut in, it doesn't necessarily mean we are shut out, nor should we take this quote unquote enclosure as an opportunity not to converse with people who we know. In essence, it has actually brought, right? It has actually brought us further across the waters and across state lines and across area codes and zip codes a little faster, because we've done what I like to say, push the live button. We've actually just said, hey, whether it's going to be Zoom or Google Classroom or what have you, I need to see your face somehow, some way. So we want to make sure that people do pop in. Always check us out on the first Thursday of the month so that you can continue to hear from our LottCarey family. Sir?
I'm sorry, I have to get off the phone. I just want to thank you for this opportunity. I got to make this other Zoom call that I have to make. Bless you all. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for joining us on this call. I have to go, okay? God bless.
All right. Good day.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, folks. So as he is decreasing, here we go. Let me just come back into the camera and say, if you have, again, any other comments or questions, please drop them in the comment section below. If there is somebody who was supposed to be here that you did not see and you know that they need to hear this information, please just type their name into the chat wherever you are seeing this. And if you put the @ in front of it, it will actually tag that person's name so that they can come in and see it. Thank you very much once again from the LottCarey WISE family, the Women in Service Everywhere. My name is Doriel Inez Larrier. And from Salem Missionary Baptist Church, which is, of course, one of our LottCarey partners here in the city of Brooklyn. I bless you all, and I look forward to seeing you next month, the first Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Peace and blessings. Have a good night.